During this year's World Peace Day, the Chief Executive Officer of Lead Network Africa, Chukwuma Ephraim Okenwa, emphasized the importance of peace at the base auditorium Independence Layout, Enugu. This was why, in his opening remarks, Okenwa stated that peace is not a passive word, but an active one and the nexus on which growth and development of any society rests. We are therefore enjoined from this year's World Peace Day theme to act now for a peaceful world. While remarking on peace markers, the rector of the Institute of Management and Technology, Professor Gozie Obodo, isolated 4 factors of peace to include inevitability factor, choice factor, sacrifice factor, and benefit factor.
I want to share with you what I have encapsulated as the 4 factors of peace. This is my own postulation. 4. The first factor is what? The inevitability factor. What do I mean by inevitability? It's simply the fact that every human interaction, every human relationship, whether it is siblings from the same mother, whether it is in a polygamous family, whether it is as colleagues, whether it is as fellow students, whether it is as people who are business partners, whether it is as countries dealing with each other, it is inevitable that the consequential fallout of that relationship is that there must be a conflict. Are you guys following me? I said it is what? Inevitable. That's the inevitability factor. And that's why brothers and brothers fight. That's why sisters and sisters fight. It doesn't matter. As long as you have any kind of relationship, there must be a fallout of that relationship. The second factor is what we consider to be the choice factor. Choice, in the sense of what is your choice in the face of this inevitable fallout of a relationship. Do you want to fight it out? Do you want to seek peace? The choice is yours. And I think that that is the gravamen of why we're here today. That we must always think of the peace option. Is that clear? We must always think of the what? The peace option.
The chairman of the Traditional Rulers Council, Enugu State, His Royal Highness Igwe Samuel Asado, also called on the government to engage the youth so they will cease from being restive to fostering peace in the country.
You see, today is a special day called World Peace Day. It's just a relationship among individuals, human beings on earth. We need to work on it every day. We have factors that everybody has defined world peace, and I see the people that spoke here. And I wish this atmosphere is very peaceful, you can see. So that's the peace starts from here. And again, it's very imperative as a leader, or as a family man, or as a woman, or a guy, in some way, wherever you are, to create peace among the environment. Communities need to start together, especially the countries like Nigeria. We need to have internal peace, whether peace within the tribes, within the religious groups, within the cultural groups, within the tribal groups. So we need to look into that. So we need to encourage our government to look into world peace, to use a day today to make a sacrifice. Those sacrifices include, but not limited to, community building, education, youth empowerment.
On her own, the founder of Nnenna Anozie Foundation and a legal practitioner, Barrister Nnenna Anozie, said that the world would be a beautiful place to be if we can build and pursue peace. In an interview with Aneke TV, Chukwuma Okenwa has this to say about global peace and peace in the country.
I think it's all about, evaluating the different strategic interests of parties involved and giving room for a negotiation. We know that in the case of Israel and Gaza, a near resolution was achieved recently, but for US applying the power of veto to veto the decision on the grounds that Hamas was not sufficiently condemned and that nothing was done about the hostages, like stressing on the need to release the hostage. So to the US, which is a very strong ally of Israel, it does appear that the needful has not been done, right? So when we look at all these strategic objectives, and in the case of Ukraine, and Russia. Russia's national interest is we signed a pact, a Warsaw Pact, that you shouldn't join NATO, right? Because we all share same border. So aligning yourself with the far west is going to pose some security danger to us. That is geopolitics. And now, you know, we saw like the West almost getting Ukraine to subscribe, and, you know, Russia saw that as an existential threat. So what I'm trying to say in essence is that sometimes when you want to analyze, you know, global politics, for instance, one may easily see from the news, it may appear that Russia is the aggressor. But Russia has an interest. It's all about existential threat. And also in the case of Israel and Gaza, I mean an unprovoked attack, onslaught from Gaza to Israel, right? Unprovoked. Took hostages and all the rest of it. And these are nations run by terrorists, right? You know, and if you don't look at those background, it's going to be like provoking to Israel, just trying to forget about those aspects, and you are saying, well, Israel accepts a ceasefire. So whatever thing that should be like a peace deal should be sustainable, right? You know, it should be such that meets all of the strategic impacts of, you know, of the parties that are involved. The way out is basically, what is the interest of the Southeasterners? We feel marginalized. There's empirical evidence that shows that even in Federal Character Commission, right, Ndibo is not really carried along. So get them on the table, find out what is the problem. Can these issues be addressed? Yes, of course, right? What that would mean is that we are not just content, aside from keeping us away from being president and vice for several years, but apart from the statutory 5 ministers going to 5 southeastern states, it does appear we can't get more. You can't tell me that is maybe under probability. No, it's intentional. So this thing should be fixed. Some of these complaints we have should be addressed, and with that, everyone can feel carried along in the Nigerian project. You know, the UN's team, it's actually the United Nations team. You know, peace is not just what you wish, right, or will. It has to be accompanied with a corresponding action, right? You know, if you ask me, maybe in the case of Israel and Gaza, many of their citizens are wishing. I mean, on both ends, they sustain collateral damage. Can this war stop? But beyond that, there is the action part of it, which involves looking at the strategic interest of parties involved and readiness to move, to make some shifts. Because standing at where you are without readiness to move, it's always a problem. So we've seen all pockets of crisis that has to do with, you know, between tribes. There's need for, you know, for us to review some of these issues and address it. And with that, I can tell you, we can fix some of this crisis. The most important thing is understand the interest of the warring parties. There's always interest. We are people of interest. Why do we work? We want to be able to do what? You know, provide for ourselves through our work. It's all about interest. Why do people war, right? They want to defend their own strategic interest. So that is just it. The world peace is not passive. So let nobody come up with a blackmail of, oh, if you are peaceful, remain passive. That's not what peace means. The word peace simply means, you know, you are ready to explore non-violent options, right? To achieve your strategic objectives. Rather than engaging in wars that will mean parties being torn apart. It doesn't always turn out good.
The occasion was indeed a pleasant and peaceful one. Chinwendo Ifeonwankwo, Aneke TV.